here's the review of Gamera versus Barugon. Beginning where the last movie left off, Gamera is drifting in a rocket in space towards Mars. Why Mars? Well, why the fuck not? But meanwhile, the rocket gets hit by a meteor or comet or whatever. I don't fucking know. I'm not a space scientist. Yeah. But it explodes, and Gamera flies back to Japan because it's a giant monster movie. Where the fuck else would he go? So yeah, he goes around destroying buildings and eating fire and all that good shit, and then he flies back off to like wherever for like the next half hour. But yeah, from here on out, we focus on a bunch of thieves and stuff who are trying to steal an opal from a cave in a place called Rainbow Valley. Now, why is it called Rainbow Valley? Because rainbows are deadly. But yeah. But before they can get to Rainbow Valley, they end up landing in this village where the villagers. Oh yeah, and by the way, this is in New Guinea. Where the villagers don't really approve of them trying to take the opal so much. In fact, they're pretty fucking pissed off. So they have to end up like shooting their gun in the air and shit. And they all run away, so yeah. And sorry, this is very unprofessional. And then they end up like trekking through the jungle. One guy falls in quicksand. No one gives a shit. And then they go back into the cave. And yeah, apparently there are like deadly scorpions that can kill you within 5 minutes of like one sting. That shit's important. But yeah, they find the opal. The one of the thieves is a douchebag. I don't remember his name because it's Japanese. I kind of racist, I know. But one of them is a douchebag and lets the scorpion sting one of the other guys. And our main protagonist, whose name is something, uh, ends up feeling remorse over this event. And then the douchebag evil antagonist villain ends up blowing up the cave with dynamite, trying to trap him inside because he is a douche. And later our protagonist manages to escape with the help of the villagers who put him in a hospital and stuff. And he ends up feeling really bad, and they tell him that the opal is actually not an opal. Oh my, isn't this a twist? But yeah, apparently like the douchebag antagonist guy, um, when he escaped, he ended up going on a cruise ship or something, and after his little trek in the jungle, he got a bad case of athlete's foot. Yeah, I'm not kidding. And he has to use an infrared lamp in order to help cure this little predicament. And the heat from the infrared lamp ends up hatching the opal, which turns out to be an egg this whole time, unleashing baby Barugon. And then baby Barugon eventually ends up hopping into the water and like going out onto Osaka, which kind of parallels Godzilla Raids Again, which also took place in Osaka for a bit, but that's beside the point. But yeah, Baragon like grows up instantly or at least it seems like it's instantly. It's certainly not very long. And he starts to attack the city. Oh God! But yes, Barugon's arsenal of abilities are quite strange. He can stick his tongue out like Yoshi from the Super Mario Brothers series, and out of this really long tongue, he can spray a freezing mist that freezes things. And out of the spikes on his back, he can shoot a deadly rainbow beam. And that's why it was called Rainbow Valley. But yes, he shoots a deadly rainbow beam, and the heat from this deadly rainbow beam ends up attracting Gamera because bitches gotta eat fire, you know? But naturally this leads to our first monster battle. Nowhere near as brutal as later monster battles in the Gamera series, strangely, despite it being much darker in tone than all the other Showa ones pretty much. But yeah, it turns out as we kind of infer from the first movie, Gamera is weak against ice. So Barugon ends up freezing Gamera and kind of kicks his ass. And then he kind of disappears until like the last 10 minutes of the movie. That's the last we see of Gamera for quite a while, despite it being called Gamera versus Barugon. Pfft, whatever. It seems like this movie wasn't even originally intended for Gamera. It's like Barugon was supposed to get like a Soho vehicle, and they shoved in Gamera at the last minute because they wrote themselves into a corner and couldn't figure out how to kick his ass. But I know this isn't true because it was always intended to be a Gamera movie. So why does Gamera only get like 10 minutes of screen time? I don't know. But yeah. Um so the rest of the movie from that point onward is well, most of the time anyway, is pretty much the army trying to figure out a way to defeat Baragon to no avail. And in between that time, we find out that douchebag antagonist guy is like probably the most despicable human being alive because he ends up burning the the house of the protagonist's brother as well as his wife, and they both die in flames and stuff. Yeah, I could have described that better, but fuck you. Um, but yes, during that time, the government is trying to take down Barugon, who's being a real douche, and one of these attempts, even though they all fail, is has a pretty amusing name, Operation Rearview Mirror. Yeah, I'm not joking. Operation Rearview Mirror. That's actually kind of funny. But I'm not sure that they intended that, but oh well. Eventually though, Gamera finally thaws out of the ice and flies over to Baragon and in a pretty harsh death. It actually kind of makes me feel sorry for him. Uh, Gamera like drags Baragon by the throat underwater, forcing him to like slowly drown to death as we see like blood fizz up like on the water and shit. I mean, it's really disturbing. But yeah, Gamera kills Barugon and then flies off, and the army doesn't really do anything about it, even though he was just destroying buildings earlier. I don't know. And then yeah, and then the movie kind of ends. Um, I make it not sound like much, but it really is one of the better entries in the Showa series, along with maybe the next one, Gamera versus Gauss. But I'm not sure how I'd rank it, so I won't. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed my extremely awkward review because this is what you're getting. So yeah.